How do offshore accounts work? Learn the basics of offshore banking. So the first thing to understand is, what is an offshore bank account? It's simply a bank account that is established somewhere outside of your home country. So for US clients, this would be an account in Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Panama, or the Cook Islands, for example. The key difference between a domestic account and an offshore account is that by having your money offshore, a US court does not have jurisdiction over that account. It's important that you select a bank which does not have a US presence, because if you use a bank which does have a US presence, the court could use that as a means of forcing the bank to release the funds, even though the funds may be held offshore. So what you want is an offshore bank account with a bank that does not have a presence in the United States, preferably not having a presence outside of its individual country. So there's a few different types of offshore accounts you can set up. There's personal accounts, there's corporate accounts, and then there are trust accounts. Generally, most of the people who work with us are setting up trust accounts. Some of them do set up personal accounts as well. Corporate accounts are less common because most of the people setting up a trust, they're either setting up for them as an individual, or for them and their spouse as a married couple. You can find great confidentiality with these offshore banks, but there's still certain information that's going to be shared with the IRS either way. In order to open an offshore account, first you need to decide where you want to open an offshore account, and there's several factors that will go into helping you determine where to open an offshore account. The first one is, are there any local taxes? The second one, are there safe banks? Is it a safe regulatory environment? Is it a safe place politically? In terms of a country that's not going to tax you for having money there, in terms of a country that's a very safe place to hold your money, that's very well regulated, as a US citizen, you're not going to find a better option than Switzerland. We do have clients who have accounts in other jurisdictions as well, Cook Islands, for example, Panama, Liechtenstein, but for the most part, we have clients bank in Switzerland. We do have some clients with US bank accounts under their offshore trust, but when we have this set up, we also recommend they still open an offshore bank account. That way, if they ever need to move the funds from their domestic account, their offshore account's already established, and you're not trying to open up an offshore bank account during a lawsuit, because some banks won't allow you to open up an offshore bank account, won't allow you to open an account while there's pending litigation. And if it's a bad enough situation, you may be completely prevented from opening a bank account once a lawsuit has been filed. So again, asset protection, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of the cure. So you will be required to supply certain documents in order to get a offshore bank account opened. These include a state-issued ID. They also may include a copy of your passport or driver's license. They will also need to verify funds, so a tax return could help with that as well. How long does it take to open up an offshore bank account? Well, the quickest that we can generally open an offshore account for a trust is about 2 weeks. Some banks we work with take anywhere from 1 to 3 months. It depends on how much money you're going to be putting into the account. It depends on your background. It also depends on whether or not you are going to have crypto owned by your bank as well. Crypto does slow down the process a little bit, but we can definitely still get the crypto safely under the trust. Switzerland, Panama, and Cook Islands are the most popular jurisdictions that our clients use. They're all very good banking jurisdictions, Switzerland being the best. But the bank we work with in Cook Islands is very safe, and we work with a very reputable bank in Panama as well. Not mentioned is Hong Kong. There was a time when Hong Kong was a great banking center, but right now Hong Kong is collapsing. Singapore is not mentioned as well because it is very difficult for US citizens to open a bank account in Singapore if you're not also living in Singapore. But that may change. We are always on the lookout for new banking options for our clients. It's a big part of the reason that I travel frequently, so that I can go and in-person vet banks for my clients and provide a wider arsenal for my clients to use to protect their assets. You still have to complete an FBAR, which is the Foreign Bank Account Reporting, which means that if you have more than $10,000 aggregate in offshore bank accounts at any time during the calendar year, you must report that you have that account. The offshore account does not increase your taxes, it does not decrease your taxes, but it is something that you do have to report. So what are the benefits of having an offshore account? It's a very private account, especially in Switzerland and the Cook Islands and Panama as well. In conjunction with the trust, it provides excellent asset protection. What asset is not in the reach of the U.S. court system and is not controlled by somebody in the reach of the U.S. court system has the highest level of protection. It's another opportunity for wealth diversification. There are lots of people who are concerned about the stability of the United States or stability of their home country, and they flock to safe jurisdictions like Switzerland, like Liechtenstein, to keep their money there so that if there are issues in their home country, at least their money is still safe. And it can open you up to some foreign investment opportunities that you may not be able to make with your current local bank and brokerage firm. There are global regulatory changes. Banks are constantly changing the rules and requirements for onboarding clients. This is a big part of the reason that when you select an asset protection law firm to work for or a law firm to work with, I highly recommend finding a law firm that specializes just in offshore trust and offshore banking, because with how quickly and how often the rules change, the chances that you're going to be able to keep up with that while also doing basic estate planning and probate and domestic business planning, it's very small. You want someone who's dedicated to this area to make sure that they get things done right. It is a practice area that I believe provides a huge value to the clients if done properly. What's the number one emerging trend in offshore banking? Well, I mean, there's tighter regulations, tighter monitoring. It does get harder every year to open a bank account offshore. Once you've got your bank account open, it's usually pretty smooth sailing. However, crypto is the new trend. More and more banks are interested in having crypto as an option for their clients, and rightfully so. There's a growing demand for it, and the banks that position themselves as a good provider for crypto solutions are going to be the ones that do the best in the coming decades, no doubt about it. It's a big part of the reason that I position myself and my law firm as a crypto asset protection law firm. We're by no means exclusively crypto, but we do offer crypto asset protection. And we have protect quite a significant amount of crypto for a few clients. Is an offshore account right for you? Well, if you've got over $500,000 or $1 million, if you want protection from lawsuits, if you're also setting up a Cook Islands trust, if you're open-minded enough to do this type of planning, then yes, an offshore account may be very well appropriate for you. In terms of account minimums, generally Switzerland requires about $1 million to get an account opened. My firm, we do have relationships with a few banks where we can get accounts open for as low as $500,000. Lower thresholds can be met in the Cook Islands around $250,000, and even we could get a Panama account open for around $100,000. If clients have less than that, then we'd probably recommend that they just stick with the domestic account for now, and then once their wealth grows, have them set up an offshore account. But offshore accounts are great for lots of reasons. The international diversification, they are great for asset protection, and you get to be cool like James Bond and have a Swiss bank account.